Okay, try again, Brian.
That's better.
Yeah. Great. Well, I think as the room is now maxed out, obviously people will be piling into the live streaming. Hopefully that's working okay. I think we might as well start now, as it's a couple of minutes past. So,
I can't read the text, can't read them. Oh wow!
Right. Okay, guys. I think we're sort of ready to start.
All right. Bye.
Right. So,
yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is a very special call today. Normally, we do a Saturday training call covering various aspects of the business. But today we've got a very special guest speaker on the call. I will not introduce myself. I'm going to leave that privilege to Brian Chittick. Brian is going to be hosting the call and interviewing Jojar today. So, John's calling me. Let me just introduce you to Brian. Brian has been in the business now for just around a year. He is building a very significant business with CFX, a real leader for his business. He's already a president with CFX in partnership with Roy, but he's about to go president himself shortly. Let me just have a quick look. So, yeah, okay. So, all right. So, without further ado, let me pass you over to Brian.
Thank you for that, Richard. And yeah, it certainly is an exciting call this morning. It was just a year last week since I joined the business, and what an incredible year it's been. And today we're very, very privileged to bring on a gentleman that I've actually got to know over the last 6 or 7 weeks as a friend, and you know, just a super guy. Obviously, Richard, yourself, you're at the pinnacle of the CFX business, almost at ambassador level. And we want to make that happen very shortly. But, you know, having built a team now of over 85,000 people across the globe, the example that you're setting in the discipline.
Brian, you've just muted yourself or something. Okay, get you back.
Someone else must have, sorry. Yeah, so I'm not sure what part of that you caught, but I was just saying that, you know, the example you're setting to your team is rippling right through the organization, and the quality of leaders that we're attracting and caliber of business people. But I think we've got a really special gentleman on here today. I'm delighted now to call this gentleman a friend. We're working very closely together, and you know, he's a serious entrepreneur and philanthropist, and you know, we're delighted to bring him on here today to share his story and why he has chosen to partner with us. So I'm going to introduce Jojar S Dhinsa from London, originally from Coventry, and Jojar is, as I say, his company turned over 23 billion a year. He's the chairman and CEO of the Athlone Group, the 46 companies there. And last year, I think they turned over, as I say, $23 billion. So he certainly knows how to get his way around business. So Jojar, pleasure to have you on this morning. And maybe we can just start with telling us a little bit about yourself and your background, and you know, from humble beginnings, shall we say?
Sure. Good morning, and good morning, good evening, everybody around the world. Thank you so much for spending your precious time with me and Brian and the CFX team. So, you know, I was born to amazing parents. Mum and dad came from India in 59, 64 respectively, and really to better their lives. You know, I think a lot of ethnic minorities, when they come to the country, the idea is to, you know, make the money and then send it back home. But fortunately for me and for most of the ethnic minority that I still hear, they stayed and they want to build a better life. So for me, at a very young age, Brian, I knew that money was going to play a very important role in my life, because, you know, we lived in a 2 up, 2 down in Coventry, as you say. And, you know, we were happy. We didn't have much. And you know, my dad earned no more than £140 a week. There were 8 of us in the house. And being the youngest, you either get everything or you get nothing. And guess what? I got I got nothing. And you know, so it was tough. It was brutal. You know, Chris was, you know, if I was lucky, I got a Satsuma. But, you know, what we had, we really appreciated. And I sort of carry on that philosophy with my family moving forward, that you should be careful. One day it will go, you know, et cetera, et cetera. We are going to go ourselves one day. So that was instilled by more so my mum, because she's very much a very religious person. And that plays a very important role in my life then as it does now. So, you know, I just wanted to make as much money as I could, Brian. I just really wanted to understand the psychology of why people are, what wealth brings them, and, you know, why it's important to be successful, but also why it's important to give as well. You know, I get more pleasure in actually giving than I do now receiving. I've always been like that, you know. Just a token of gesture, or, you know, holding the door or getting someone a coffee or a warm meal, that for me is still very important as part of my life. So very tough upbringing. I worked very hard. I've been, you know, brutally honest with myself. I sometimes lie to myself. I sometimes cheat myself. I sometimes steal from myself, because I want to do well. I want to leave a legacy behind me. We are not here forever. And I want to be biblical when I go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you started at a very young age, probably school days like myself. I mean, I like financial independence, and I had my first job at 9 years old, and it sounds like you had similar ways to build yourself up in your younger days.
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember I was about I was 6, and my dad was this huge guy. I mean, massive, and I was tiny compared to him. And we went shopping, and he said to me, "Get some pair of trainers." I got my trainers, my first Nike trainers. I was so excited, and went to the till, and he said, "Right, who's going to pay for them?" And I looked at him. I said, "Well, you are." He went, "No, I'm not." And I said, "Right, well, okay, well." And he said, "Look," he looked at me and he said, "Jojar, if you cry, I'm going to give you the biggest slap from these people." So I went home with no trainers, and my dad sat me down, and he said, "What did you learn from there?" And I said, "Well, because we're Sikhs by faith, so the word Sikh means to learn, so we're always learning constantly, right, as human beings as well." And I said, "Well, I've learned 2 things, Dad. One, I shouldn't go shopping with you ever again, but that's for sure. And 2, I've got to get a job." So 6 years old, and in those days, different as it is nowadays, Brian, right? I wouldn't do that now. I wouldn't let my kids do that now.
Yeah.
So, you know, I did what I did, and my dad said to me, "You know, you won't last 6 weeks." 6 months later, I carried on, morning, afternoon, did what I could. My brother would follow me around sometimes just in case there was any issues. You know, we lived in a pretty rough area. I mean, it was pretty rough. It's okay now. And, you know, I got my trainers, and for me, I've always set myself goals, and I'm very much goal driven. And we'll discuss that later. But for me, I'm very much, and I never compare myself to anybody. That's really important. I think if you compare yourself to other people, then you're always going to be second best. And I've always said, look, just give it your best shot. We're not here forever. And work with smarter people, not smart people, because smart people, I'm pretty smart, but I want someone who's better than me. And that is what I've done in my career, and I've tried to emulate that in my charity work as well.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing applies in any sport. If you play somebody of your own level, it doesn't better you. You want to play somebody and aspire to get to their level, and they bring
absolutely.
So would you say the driving force that got you was coming from the humble background, that you really felt, well, I deserve better, I want better, and I'm going to make it happen? You know, was that your driving force to make you start your business? And what business did you really get into then? And you know, how did that develop to where you are now?
So Absolutely, because when you have nothing, you try and do as well as you can. And I remember seeing the nice cars in Coventry, and I said, I said to myself, one day I like to have that car. And the part of growing up in a I would say sort of poorish background is you have to aim really high. And I've always said it's not my fault if I was born rich, but it will be my fault if I die poor. And that's to everybody, right? We all have the same opportunities that are given to us. It's whether you are brutally honest to have the balls really to just don't stop. So my first company, I was literally buying scrap metal. I was going to people's skips and in Coventry, in the posh part of Coventry, and get their washing machine parts and lawnmower parts and try and sell them. And I just didn't care what people thought. I just thought, what's he doing and why is he doing that? I didn't, and I still don't really care what people think. I'm very, very unrealistic as a person, and I'm very unreasonable as a person. Not to anybody else, but to myself. And I aim as high as possible in anything I do. And then you get to know other people, you network, and again, those days, Brian, as you know, we never had Google or Facebook or all these other social media platforms. That's a very much new thing. So you had to go to the library, do your research. I always said to people, anything you start, any adventure you start, any business you start, feed your mind. Feed it, get information, do your due diligence. And that's one thing which I say now to people: before you do anything, don't listen to people, don't read stuff on Google, do your own research as much as you can within the resources you have. So my business was selling dyes from India, or buying them from India and selling them to the UK. And I did really well. And before I was 21 years old, I flipped that company. 18 months later, I lost everything because I made a bad decision. I trusted somebody that I thought was friend, and it turned out he wasn't. That was, very dark moment in my life because I couldn't tell anybody I had lost the money because I'd made in the first place. So, but again, what doesn't kill you, it doesn't make you stronger. It makes you stranger. And I learned from that, and luckily I had some very good contacts in Russia that helped me to the business which I run today, which is Athlone Group, and we're a commodities business. And I've always tried to keep things really simple. I'm not a smart guy. I suffer from dyslexia, and I'm overweight, and I'm diabetic, and but I'd always try and help people as much as I can. If someone rings me, my PA always says, "Look, Joe, your biggest problem is you're too accessible." And my pushback is, Brian, I want to help people. It's good to be good, Brian. It's nice to be nice, and that's what I try and do in everything I do now.
Yeah, and I mean, and that experience that you had, that's a big blow when anybody breaks that trust to that level. And that must have been pretty caused a lot of turmoil in your own head, because you couldn't tell anybody because you hadn't told them in the first place. So it must have been a pretty dark moment for you. And those are the moments that really adversity, you triumph from those, and that's the way, I think that's the way our psyche is. Or certainly the people that are driven, and obviously the success that you've taken to the level that you're at now, that must have been a key factor in that. And what would you say are the key secrets to your success then, having had that experience at a young age?
So that, believe it or not, wasn't that bad. What was much worse than that was when I was 12. When I was 12 years old, the police rang my house, and I had to tell my mum and dad that their son had just passed away in a road traffic accident. And that was difficult because we can lose money, we make money. You can, you get married, you get divorced, you lose deals, you lose opportunities. But there's other things. Something comes along, but when someone dies, that's it. The war is over. I will never see my brother in this life ever again. So if you can cope with that, then everything else is quite easy to cope with, because you find a solution. I lost money, and I was depressed. 2 years ago, I lost $900 million on a transaction. Again, I thought I trusted some people that I work with, and you just carry on. I always say, Brian, I never lose, I either learn or I win. So you are through this life we live, and we're not here forever. We are going to go through trauma. You are going to die. You are going to have we are going to bury our parents, right? And if we're lucky, our kids will bury us. That's life. Get that into your head, embrace that. And once you start embracing your failures, once you understand that, yes, Jojar's right. I will have days where I don't want to get up there. I will have days where no. But it's not a no. They're just training you to get the yes. And when you do get a yes, celebrate it and then move on to the next thing. But I've always said my secret, Brian, has always been I just don't stop. I really don't stop. My missus says to me, she said, Joe, I wish you came with a health warning. I said, why is that then? She went, I've never met anybody that just does not stop. She said, I'm not just saying that because I love you to bits. I'm saying it because you're just brutal. You're just unreasonable, unrealistic. But she went, I love you to bits, but you really should come with a health warning. And I'll give you an example, right? So I don't have a laptop. I have 4 of these things, the iPhone 6 Pluses. It's all broken and smashed up and everything. I won't change it, right? I don't, if I sleep for about 20, 30 minutes a day over the 24-hour period. So I don't sleep 3-4 days sometimes. And I came to the conclusion that, when we're younger, Brian, we're all programmed. So it's a TV program, it's a Microsoft program, it's a curriculum educational program. But if you think logically, going to school is the worst thing possible. Because if you want to be an entrepreneur that I wanted to be, the guys teaching me or the girls that are teaching me, they're not entrepreneurs, they're not millionaires or billionaires. So what can they tell me? So I always, which is what we'll talk about later, my mentoring program, but I want to tell people, I want to share the secret sauce, and teaming up with you guys, that's part of the solution. But the how to be great and how to be what I call what is being great is literally a very simple thing. I never judge people what they say to me. I judge what they do. And if you're going to say you're going to do something, just do it. Yeah. And you'd be surprised how simple that is, Brian. And we have this conversation all the time. Like, why do they say that? Why do they just? Why don't they join the CFX family or the IML family? They say a lot of things, but why don't they do it? I don't know. So again, embrace it. And again, my secret has always been just don't stop. Don't stop. You can't be somebody, Brian, who never quits. You can't be somebody who never quits.
And that tenacity is obviously, proved to be very, very successful. I mean, the experience with your brother at that age, no parent expects to bury their child. And obviously, as a sibling, that's as you say, that puts into perspective anything else. Money is insignificant.
Absolutely.
But and therefore, obviously, that was probably your darkest moment at that
Absolutely.
time. And then everything else, then it gives a perspective that tenacity has just got you and propelled you to where you are. And playing with somebody at a lower level, as you say, with the school teaching system, that's like going out and playing, with somebody that's inferior to you. There's no fun in that. And you've taken that to a different level. But, most people would be satisfied, and the vast majority of people would be aspiring to become a millionaire. And that's great. But, what really, you weren't very satisfied with that, again, because of the way you are. So what kept you motivated? Did you want to hit the billionaire? Did you know? And even at this level, have you more aspirations, higher aspirations, trillionaire, for example? Or I know that the philanthropic projects and your nature and the way that you're giving back, and especially the project last year, which is probably then led into this year because of the give a man a fish and feed him, or teach him to fish, which you'll probably refer to shortly. But being a millionaire, what then really propelled you to go to the level that you're at, and how long did that take? What was the process for that?
So for me, I always focus on the why. So once I know what my why is, or once you know what your why is, and I always say, Brian, there are two dates that are important in your life: the day you were born and the day you realize why you were born. And for me, my purpose is to, through my own foundation, is to cure the brain disease, which is, we go to the gym, we train this, but we don't train that. I spend more time training that, as you can tell, because that's very important to me, because my father passed away from Parkinson, my mum's got dementia, and to see somebody that's so powerful and that's so influential in my life to deteriorate is painful. But rather than me bitching and moaning, I decided to do something. And last year, we, as an individual, I funded the whole project myself. We fed over 1.1 million people in the UK, and it was very, very eye-opening when you see, especially in the first world, in the UK, that our soldiers that have served us, and I wear my help for heroes bangle with pride, that our British soldiers and that have served us and saved us, they're on the street. It truly breaks my heart when I met people that were in Afghanistan. Some of them were Iraq veterans that had served their queen and country, and we treat them like absolute shit. And for me, that was eye opener. And when you next time, the message I would like you guys to sort of take from this, one of the messages is, when you see someone that's homeless, they don't sometimes want money, they don't want food, they just want that human touch, because guess what? They're just like me and you. They're not better than me. I'm not better than them either. So when I was doing my rounds of feeding people, and it's all vegetarian food, I wasn't there to preach. I wasn't going to promote a religion or a culture or a club or whatever. I just wanted to do what I call God's work, right? And I fed and I spoke to people every day pretty much. And the message I got across, which I got across from them and I was giving back to them, was people don't need handouts. They need a hand. And the issue we have in this country is, with all the pandemic, everyone is feeling sorry for themselves, including me partly. I was there. But I thought, you know what, I can sit and moan and listen to the news and listen to Boris Johnson and be all doomy and gloomy, or do something about it. So this year, a part of our IML program, which we discuss later, is I want to mentor a million people around the world, and guide them and coach them. I've got two very amazing coaches on board, Danny Sanger and Omar Ishmael, that are just phenomenal in what they do. And a lot of people, Brian, they don't need management. They need a bit of direction. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, what I try this and I don't manage people. I don't manage my HODs. I just direct them. And and I think I want to is good to be good, is nice to be nice, and I like to I don't want to give you the fish, Brian. I want to teach you how to fish, so you're self-sufficient. And I think nowadays people have lost trust and touch with their leaders, with their governments, with their banks, with other financial institutions, and they want their control back. And part of the academy with CFX is that it gives them the opportunity to learn from the IML program, partnership with the CFX Academy.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously you're very, very goal driven and setting goals. Rich have done a great training there a couple of weeks ago on the goal setting. And it is important. And, we read Napoleon Hill, and it's the people who set their goals that achieve them, because, it's like the ship. If you don't know where you're going, you'll end up anywhere. So how important is goal setting to you, and how do you set those goals, Jojar?
So for me, you're right. I've always been goal driven, and and I think a lot of people, what they do, they look at their, before the new year, they set their yearly goals, which is fine, and they look back every couple of months and go, I haven't done it, I'll stop doing it. For me, I literally have an hourly goal, or a 2 hourly goal. My alarm will go off and say, right, what have I achieved? Because we're not here forever. You know what I mean? So you've got to have a purpose, have a vision, have a goal. So a goal is almost like what I say to people, it's like a big elephant. So if you want to say, look, I want to earn £1 million, you think, well, I'm only earning 10 grand a year. How am I going to earn £1 million a year? So it's like eating the big elephant, but you don't eat it in one sitting, Brian. You eat it piece by piece, as bite size. And you have to be hard on yourself. You are going to fail. I guarantee you that you are. All of us, including me, including the guys behind CFX, and we will fail. We will fail in the sense that we have failed, but we learn from that. And once you learn from that, you become a better person. And will you make mistakes? Absolutely. Will they bumps in the road? 100%. Will you wake up one morning and think, I don't want to wake up, want to go back to bed? Absolutely. But here's the thing: people that don't take risks in life will end up working for people that do.
Of course.
So you either do it yourself, or you think, I'll rely on somebody else. And next time you see a guy in a nice car, don't be jealous. Be envious that, wow, how's he done it? Maybe some finance, but he's paying 3-4 grand a month or whatever it is to cater for that car. Yeah. You should be happy that if he can do it, so can I. And if Elon Musk can be the richest man in the world, so can I. So can you. So can everyone listening to this interview. But I think what you have to understand is that set yourself unrealistic goals, Brian. Totally unrealistic. If you want $1 billion, aim for 50. If you want $1 trillion, aim for 50. Because when you jump up, toward the stars, you won't get a star. But you won't, and when you land, you won't get a handful of mud either. You'll get something. And that's really important, is being persistent and consistent. I never do anything new. I've never changed my blueprint. All I do is I tell old things to new people. My blueprint will be exactly the same as 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. In the next 20 years' time, if we're still in touch, and I hope we are, by the way, it will be the same. You'll be like, Joe, you have not changed one bit. And that's something people say, oh, when you have children, Joe, you'll change, you'll calm down. Someone labeled me as a good mate of mine. He said, Joe, you are an absolute maniac. And I am, because I am absolutely brutal, and I'm very honest to myself. And one thing, Brian, I will say, and I share this, is that when I decided to do this interview with you, it was an honor for me, because I enjoy our conversations. I enjoy the academy. I enjoy the results that it's given me and my team. But I don't own the business. I am not a shareholder of the company. I'm not a director of the business. I am just an average Joe who did my research around what I thought was a good proposition. I still do. And as long as it works for me, I'm more than happy. And like my mum always says, dogs will always bark. You will get people that won't like you. And one thing I learned is, when you have an idea, or when you have a business proposition or new business, don't go to your family. It's the worst thing you can do. If my dad was still alive, I would have been a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer. And I'm probably the worst doctor. If you wanna die, you come and see me. If you want to lose your case in court, you come and see me. Because I'm not that academically qualified, right? I know what I'm good at. Yeah. All of us, Brian, have a skill set. And I mean, I don't care who you are. Yeah. Every single person has what I called a little gem of skill. They just need to find it. And I'm very good at finding out what your skill set is. Even a homeless person who's got nothing, Brian, I'll find a little gem, what he or she is good at, and I'll expand that. And for me, the joy I get is that when you look back 3, 4, 5 months time, you think, do you know what? We did that together. And that for me is what it's all about.
Yeah, and I mean that's so true, because, and it's one of the things that I absolutely love about the network marketing industry, because if you take the corporate world, it's competitive, it's dog eat dog, and if I'm working with you, I don't want you to succeed. Network marketing is cooperative, and the big thing about it is, I often talk about the social spectrum, where that poor guy on the street, if you want to judge it in this manner, is a 1. And somebody like yourself is a 10, or Richard Branson, or whoever you may want to put up there. And, everybody knows if I'm a 5, nobody wants to feel inferior. So they go to a 4, and they go to a 3, go to a 2, and all of a sudden your business is in the gutter. But the big thing the big thing about this industry is, if you take the eclectic skill sets of everybody and that little gem that everybody has, that's what I talk about in the training, about putting your boardroom together. We've a business here that you can start your academy for $300. Now, if you treat it like a $300 business, guess what? You're not going to get a big result. If you treat it like a $3 billion business and put your boardroom together with your board members with a different eclectic skill sets and then collectively work at that in a cooperative manner, that's what networking to me is all about. But, you know, your blueprint, it's very easy to say your blueprint now, you're not going to change it because it has worked. And I think that everybody has to tweak and everything along the way. You know, and the failures, if you want to call them failures or experiences, you know, you said you'd had a deal, lost 900 million. For some people, I mean, that's insurmountable to even think of that because that's at their level. But in a network marketing business, people often panic because, you know, there's bumps along the way, there's things happen, computer systems go down. And I think the funny thing is, if it happens with an ordinary corporate company, they never think anything of it. As soon as it happens with a network marketing business, it's doom and gloom, you know. And what's your thoughts or experience in that? Because this is new to you. And by the way, you're not a nobody. You've already hit the rank of executive in a few weeks, and that's the one thing about this business. We all start at the same level, and you know. So just in terms of your advice, having had your experiences at that level, for people starting this business and they're maybe starting their they are starting their entrepreneurial journey because they've taken that first step to get out of the rat race and the matrix. But a lot of people don't know how to handle those challenges, Jojar. So what would your advice be to people in the business, especially at the beginning, you know, when they encounter these challenges? What mindset, what tips, what would your advice be to the police?
Yeah, no, good question. So I looked at MLM probably nearly 20 years ago when somebody from Amway approached me, and I looked at the proposition, and I just thought, you know, I don't need 10 liters of fairy liquid every single month. I don't need 50 gallons of comfort in my house. And it was just sort of potions and lotions, Brian. We talk about this sometimes, right? So I didn't understand it. I thought MLM looks like a pyramid. Is it a Ponzi scheme? So again, Google wasn't around then. So you ask a few people. I didn't see me fitting into the whole MLM family. And I've been presented probably 50, 55 different MLM opportunities. I've always said no. No, I'm not interested. And how we invest as a company, by the way, so we never invest in anything where somebody approaches us. We always invest because we've got to find the gold. The gold's not, no one's going to knock on your door, Brian, and say, I've got some gold, would you like it? It doesn't work like that. You've got to go and find that gold. And same with this, when we looked at the different programs that are out there for my 1 million mentoring lives mentoring program, the Billion Step Mindset program, we looked at a couple of things that just didn't make sense. And when we looked at CFX, the academy, you know, the e-learning, which is part of our portfolios that I'm involved with, the e-learning industry, especially now with the whole Corona thing, is worth nearly $365 billion an industry in the next couple of years. So everybody has to, unfortunately, the way the Corona thing is, has to work from home or remotely. And that was a good sign. So I thought, right, you know, I can work like that. When I got involved, about 6 weeks ago, there were slight bumps in my journey. The system did go down, and you're right, you panic. Because when RBS's system goes down, bank holiday Monday, where no one can withdraw their ATM, yeah, people moan. But guess what? It's a brand called RBS or HSBC. When something like CFX goes down, people panic. And I'll be honest with you, I did panic. I rang you about 1,000 times. What's going on? What's going on? Maybe overreacted, which is, for me, it's the right thing to do because I never worry as an investor in my company what I invest in, but I never worry as a person, how much money I will make. I worry how much money or a reputation I will lose. But as soon as you understand something, you accept it. The key is you have to understand it to accept it, and you have to have an open mind. If I told you the stuff that we've worked in and the countries I've been to, like Libya, where everybody said to me, Joe, don't go there, Gaddafi's going to kill you, or do this to you, do that to you. Nothing happened, because the reason why people say it's a no, don't do it, is because they can't do it. Because they don't want to make the phone calls, and they don't want to, work 20 hours a day, because they're lazy. We are a lazy species, right? We like things done for us. So for me, I always question everything, and I always do my due diligence, and I asked a lot of people, and I've got a pretty decent network around the world, including the States, including South America, including Panama. And as long as I was happy with my due diligence and with my guys that went to the offices of CFX, I'm okay. But I think no business, Brian, no business, I don't care who you are, with leisure industry, oil and gas, financial services, no business is bulletproof. Nothing. It's impossible. Why? Because we're people. One of the things about us is our minds are always changing. You can't control us. So when you have people and machines and all that data and all that information flying about, there are going to be glitches. Just bear this in mind, that from the year 0 to 2010, all that data, all that information is now produced in 48 hours. Yeah, all that information is now produced in 48 hours. Are there going to be glitches in the system? Absolutely. Are there going to be bumps in the road? Absolutely. Will you feel annoyed and pissed off? Absolutely. That's normal. You're a human being. If I didn't panic, or if I didn't get the 47 phone calls, that day from my downline, I would worry as well. Yeah. But it's not what happens to you, it's how you handle it.
And that's it, as I say, and if someone's not used to it, I mean, the challenges and the bumps in the road, you've had ramps and creators to manipulate. But, when you were doing your due diligence on CFX as a business, obviously you've got the resource to do that. You've been speaking with Waskar, etc., who has very similar values to yourself. So obviously there was an empathy and an alignment there. But can you elaborate a little bit on the sort of, what you felt and how you felt and discovered the due diligence that you did?
So the first thing everybody does, and that includes me, you go online, and I Googled it, and there was a load of stuff about CFX and the fraud alerts and this and that and the other. But then you got to take a step back, and you got to analyze who is saying those things, right? And then you look at the posts, and there were people saying, it's a scam, it's this, a Ponzi scheme, and it's a pyramid scheme. And well, surprise, surprise, every organization on the planet is a pyramid, including my own. I sit at the top. I've got a board of directors, a management team, HOD, sales guys, sales reps, consultants. So every organization, including our royal family, even our British Army, is a pyramid. So that's not an issue. For me, it was all about, the question I asked myself was, is it a Ponzi scheme? And how do I make sure it's not a Ponzi scheme? Because I read the reviews of it's a Ponzi scheme. You don't make money out of Ponzi schemes and yada, yada, yada. So, I looked at the reviews. I gave it internally to my guys to have a look at internally. And then I made a decision to speak to somebody in Panama who's probably one of the richest families in Panama. And I said to Nico, would you mind going to the offices for me and take some pictures and everything? And he went to the RBS Tower in the 9th floor. He met people there. He said, look, just to let you know, they're rebuilding the offices, which is true because no one told me that. I told Waskar that, and then obviously he confirmed it. And he said, look, there are people there hanging about. They're doing refurbishment of the office space, which again is in line with what Waskar's always said. And I then said, fine, thank you very much. We looked at the back end of the system, the CRM system. It looks fine. I don't know how. And here's something really interesting. When I came on this TV, about to say program, about this interview today, I got a lot of criticism to be on this interview. And I must have emailed pretty much every single person. And I spoke to one person who was a very decent guy. Every else that I emailed and that emailed me was, Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo. And my PA said, listen, tell you what, why don't you talk to Mr. Dhinsa? Oh, no, we don't want to talk to him. We just think it's a scam. That's fine. Why don't you talk to him? And better still, why don't you show me the evidence that you think is a Ponzi scheme? Because obviously, if you say it's a Ponzi scheme, show me. If it is something wrong, I would like to know. Forget about everybody else. Because for me, reputation is very important, as it is for you guys too. But here's the thing. They were talking a great game, Brian, that it is a Ponzi scheme. It is this, it is that. But when I asked for a very simple request, my PA said, listen, thanks for your email. Give us your phone number and give us the evidence. Guess what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. So
Yeah.
that for me was enough. The system for me, and again, my disclaimer is, once again, I don't own the business. I'm not a director. I'm not a shareholder. I'm like you guys out there. The system works. The academy system works. What happens in the future, like any business, even my own, I don't know. But today, as I am going to enroll 1 million people around the world in my mentoring program, we are going to be partnering up with CFX.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, I think a lot of people don't understand the network marketing industry. And as you rightly said, your own company included, every single structure in every sector is a pyramid. The big difference with our pyramid is it's an inverted pyramid that allows everybody to go to the top. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. If you're motivated like you are, anybody can succeed, and they can succeed above the person who introduced them. And that's one of the things that I love about the industry.
Absolutely.
And the leverage that you can create. So, you know, this obviously ties in nicely with your mentoring program. I think the philanthropy that and the work that you're doing there is going to be phenomenal. It'll have a massive impact on many, many more people, teaching them to fish and letting them be self-sufficient, and partnering with CFX to do that. I think is going to be fantastic. So, you know, what encouragement would you give? Just finally, you know, billionaire mindset. That's something that most people don't have. They might try and get a billionaire mindset, but what is it that you would what encouragement would you give somebody starting CFX today? Because it's not easy out there, and especially with the current economic and social conditions, people are depressed, mental issues. And I think this is a great way, because the community that we have here, even the online meetings, you know, some of the trainings, meetings, we're getting maybe a couple of hundred people. And more people are saying it's great to be part of something. People like to be part of something. They don't like it's not nice being on your own.
Absolutely.
So what would your advice be to make that journey work and be successful?
I think it's all about planning and preparation and purpose. So set yourself a goal, set how much money you want to earn on a monthly basis, you know, 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 grand a month, whatever it is, and work backwards. So I've always, again, done that in my companies. I think go on to feed your mind, learn from your peers, team up, and quite rightly, Brian, in this current climate, there's a lot of loneliness, there's a lot of heartache. People are losing their jobs, but team up with somebody that is better than you, and that's what I've done. Hence why I talked to you, I talked to Bhaskar, I talked to Richard, and etc. And I think just don't stop, just beast it. I have a 90-day mentality, which is for 90 days, just beast it. Don't sleep, don't eat, don't do anything, don't have a shower. Just beast it for 90 days, and it's a you'll be a smelly bugger, but that's fine. But you'll be a rich smelly bugger. And I've always said there's no such thing as a rich ugly man, right? But I think, but I think if you have the goal, the purpose, and the why you're doing what you're doing, then you will always be successful, whether it's MLM or running your own corner shop or your business empire. It's just, you've got to be goal driven, and you've got to have that purpose, the outcome. Focus on the outcome, not the process. That's really important, because the process will take care of itself. It's the outcome people worry about. So I look at it a bit like, again, from London to Manchester, you take a road, an M1 or the M40, but you might take a U-turn, end up in Derby somewhere, i.e. you have a bad day. But guess what? Focus on the goal. This bit here will take care of itself, and you will get criticized. You will get all the no's. But do you know what? The only way you learn as a human being is that through your failures. And it's really good to fail. It's really good to get the knockbacks. But because why? We're not here forever. I mean, you can either stack shelves, which is fine. I have no issue with that. But I didn't want to stack shelves. I don't want to read the headline. I want to be the headline. And with the team around CFX, honestly, and again, I don't own it. All I'm telling the guys that are listening is, for me, it works. Do your own due diligence. Hang around people that are better than you. Get mentored. Look at our mentoring program, and just don't give up, because we're not here forever. You know, we are all gonna go. And what's there to lose? There's nothing wrong. I can't see anything that's wrong with it other than it's different. You know, it's different to what other people are saying. And then when there's something different, Brian, people get a bit nervous. But trust me, jump. It'll be fine.
Yeah, and I mean that's it, because if it's outside the norm, it's this caution. I mean, for me, one of the biggest lessons, and I think, you know, it is a privilege here having the opportunity to do this call and interview with you. To me, the biggest lesson, the fact that we're sitting here doing this today, most people would never even dream of talking to a billionaire about a network marketing business, because let me tell you, it's the most noble profession in the world. And more, you know, there's more millionaires created through network marketing than any other business on the planet, and I'm including the music industry, Hollywood, NFL combined. And people don't realize that. And, you know, and I think one of this business is definitely disrupting the industry because of the model we have and the whole ethos of Wasker's business model. But, you know, the big lesson for me, again, you know, talk to everybody. Nobody deserves the right to make someone else's decision, Jojo.
Absolutely.
And you're the epitome of that to the example you're giving us, you know.
You know, absolutely. When I spoke to Waskar, you know, I had this sort of preconceived idea of what a MLM guy would look like, and totally opened my eyes. Totally, you know, he has the same goal and vision, and wants to help people as much as he can. You know, there's a lot of resistance out there potentially, but you know, just jump out the plane and we'll help you build the parachute before you land. It's fine. You might have a little broken arm or a twisted finger, but it's fine. You know, but it's fine. You will learn from it. And the main thing is learn, earn, and then return, which is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, earn as you learn, which is fantastic. Well, listen, Jojar, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
I think really appreciate you taking the time out, and I'm sure everybody.
Thank you, everybody listening. Yeah, thank you so much.
We'll enjoy this, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm sure you'll be doing some work later anyway.
Absolutely, 100%.
Hey, thanks for that, and thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. Maybe Richard, you'd like to sum up and finish the call.
Yeah, wow, thanks guys, and thanks Jojar. What a brilliant interview. I was going to say something at the end of this, but I can't think of anything. I think everything's been said. So, you know, fantastic call. Really appreciate you coming on the call. I know it's going to mean a lot to a lot of people. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Have a great weekend, and looking forward to a fantastic new week. All right, guys, take care.